Shabbat Shalom from Temple Concord. This week our Torah portion is all about Korach and the rebellion. And there's a fascinating little sidebar that comes at the end of it that most of the time we skip right over. But I think it's important. I think it offers a great lesson for us. The tail end, the pans that the rebels brought their offerings to, that ended up being the last things they held when they were destroyed, are left there. And the Israelites don't know what to do with those pans. Now it's those same kind of incense pans that got Aaron's sons into trouble many weeks ago when we read that Torah portion. This time the pans are there, and we get an instruction from God to take the pans and melt them down and turn them into metal sheeting that can be used for the altar. And the argument is that they're still holy even though they were used for nefarious purposes and used by people who were being rebellious. So it's a fascinating piece that even though they're connected with failure, they themselves still remain holy. I wonder how much we do that in our own lives. When we make a mistake, do we get rid of everything that led us to that mistake? Or do we realize that there are holy pieces around even though we made a mistake? And do we recognize the holiness and treat them as holy? So it wasn't just that they recognized the pans were holy, they melted them down and continued to use them for a holy purpose. How wonderful would our world be, or how better would our world be, if we were to find a way to use our mistakes and our failures for continued holy purposes in the days and weeks and months to come. It's a great challenge, and it's one that I think we need to address as we live through difficult times where it feels like mistakes are being made on a national and international level all the time. We have to recognize that there is holiness in every human act, and that there is a way to recover that holiness and to celebrate that holiness even as we work through the challenges of whatever failure we have. So I wish you a Shabbat where you can look at the failure not as an absolute disaster, but as a partial disaster, a partial mess, where there are pieces partly that can still be revived, there are pieces that can still be used, and that there are parts of that mistake that can remain holy. Our Shabbat this Friday evening will be a special Shabbat as we celebrate our annual meeting and the election and installation of officers and board members. The annual meeting will begin at 5:30 promptly on Friday. 6 o'clock we'll have services along with our choir, and after services we have a wonderful dinner catered by the Mission. Should be a great Mexican fiesta night at the temple. Saturday morning, of course, services are at 11 a.m. preceded by Torah study at 10, and we have a movie this Shabbat, so there'll be a movie in our synagogue series. And next week, things continue. We have our summer schedule printed, and you should be receiving it very shortly if you haven't already. Lots of fun outdoor services, some of the same places we've been, some new parks and new places to visit as well. Lots of good things coming up at the temple. For now, I wish you a Shabbat of seeking holiness, even in the most unusual and unexpected places, even in places that seem like marks of failure. How can we look at those little vessels that helped us fail as vessels of holiness at the same time? Shabbat Shalom for now. Look forward to seeing you in the temple.